So this lesson is all about genetics. So we're starting with a new topic today. So basically genetics is the study of the inheritance of traits or characteristics from one generation to the next, meaning the fact that you have dimples, or the fact that you've got freckles on your face, or the fact that you've got a specific color of hair, your height, your skin color, everything that you have is specific genetic traits you inherited from your parents. So that's basically what we're looking at in genetics. So genetika basies is die studie van die oordrag van sekere eienskappe vanaf een generasie na die volgende. So as jy 'n spesifieke karaktereienskap het soos jou lengte, jou velkleur, jou haarkleur, jou oogkleur, alle goeders het jy oorgeerf van jou ouers. So dis basies hoe hierdie karaktereienskappe van jou ouers oorgedra kan word na jou. Okay, and so all of this has to do with your genetics, meaning your genes, hence the picture where we look at what does your DNA look like compared to, say, your parents, and the specific DNA that you have, 50% you got from your mother, 50% you got from your father. And that's basically what the entire study of genetics is. What was given to you from your parents, and what traits do you have now? So here we have a couple of traits. They talk about length of eyelashes, shape of your eyebrows, the position of your eyebrows, size of your nose, shape of your lips, and there are different types you can get. So meaning you have the trait itself, and then the trait can be usually one of two things. Okay, here we have three types, but I'll explain it now. So meaning in this case you can have long lashes, or you can have short lashes. But what this shows us again is the alleles. So I'm going to run through what alleles are again in the next slide. But again, you have usually one chromosome from your mum, one chromosome from your dad. So let's take long lashes as an example. This capital L represents one, let's say, argument's sake, from your mum, one from your dad. So two capital L's gives you long eyelashes. But in this case, here's one that's called a hybrid. So the one from your mum, say, was a capital L, so it is there for long lashes. But you also have a chromosome gene that is for short lashes. But the one is dominant over the other one, meaning you can only see one or the other. One eye can't have long lashes and the other one short. It's either long or short. But in this case, long is more dominant. We're also going to talk about dominance. So in this case, long and long, a hybrid one will show a long eyelash, but you can also get short eyelashes if you have both these genes for short eyelashes. Okay, so basies in jou menslike genetiese eienskappe, hier is 'n paar verskillende eienskappe. Die eerste een waarna ons gaan kyk is die lengte van jou ooghare. En basies jy het twee verskillende tipes, is of lank of kort. In hierdie geval, jy kry gewoonlik 'n kromosoom met 'n spesifieke geen van jou ma, een kromosoom en 'n geen van jou pa. Albei te doen met hierdie selfde karaktertrek, maar die een is vir lank oogwenke en die ander is vir kortes. So in hierdie geval is albei dieselfde, so dis homozigoties, so dis dan lank. Maar hier is heterozigoot baster basies, waar een van die ma is vir lank, die geen, en die ander een sê maar van die pa is vir kort. Maar ons sien nog steeds in die liggaam dat dit vir lank is, omdat die een is dominant oor die ander. Ons gaan nou praat oor dominansie en recessieve goeders. Okay, so basically just to show you guys that there are a couple of things that have to do with, or some traits that are actually genetically passed over from one organism to the next. So it's interesting that if again you have a large sized nose, someone in your family must have also had a large shaped nose and given that to you. Again, also with the shape of the lips, you got thick, medium, thin. Somebody must have had thick ones, if you have thick ones, to have passed it on to you. Okay, so there are many more traits that are genetically inherited. This one just shows a couple of examples. Okay, so going back to what is an allele. Like I just quickly mentioned, one chromosome from your mum usually, one from your dad, maternal, paternal, and usually somewhere in your chromosome you're going to have a couple of genes. In this case, in this example, this is for a plant, and you have a plant with specific seed colors. So in this case, the genes have to do with seed color, These two happen to be for yellow seeds, the color. This one is again a hybrid, so a heterozygous individual, one with one type of gene, allele, of a gene, a variation of a gene, and another variation of the same gene. This one encodes for a yellow color, this one encodes for a green color. But what we see in reality is also a yellow seed. So in this case, we can see that the yellow one is dominant over the green one. Here we have the key as well. Meaning if you have both these alleles, only one of them will be visible because the one kind of overshadows the other one. And in this case here we have two of the same alleles on the same gene, both for green, and we actually do see that the seed is green because both of these are present. So meaning both of the alleles are for green, so you can only see a green seed in this case. Okay, so basically these are actual seeds, but there are genes, if you didn't know that, inside of peas and seeds. So these are the chromosomes that are present inside, say, this seed. These are the two chromosomes present inside this seed. And these are the chromosomes present inside this seed. So then based on the genes, it tells you what the color is going to be on the outside. Okay, so basically, again, if you guys remember, a locus refers to the position or the location of a gene for, in this case, seed color. So this is the locus, the position. Here's the locus for something else, another gene, and here's a locus for another gene. So the locus is the position of a gene. A gene itself is a part of DNA, a specific sequence of DNA located on a specific area on a chromosome. And you have different alleles. So the alleles are the variation of a chromosome. The variation of a gene, sorry. Okay, so basies in die hele gedeelte sien ons nou dat ons het 'n homozygotiese voorbeeld van kromosome, twee allele wat dieselfde is. Al twee allele is hier vir geel kleur, so wat jy sien buite in die saad is geel, so hierdie kromosome is binne die saad. En die gene maak dat die saad gaan geel wees. Hierdie twee allele. Hier het ons heterozygotiese kromosome, meen dit is twee verskillendes. Selfe geen, maar verskillende allele, meen dit is geneties gevarieerd. So hier het ons 'n spesifieke alleel wat enkodeer vir 'n geel saad, maar hier het ons een van die pa, paternal, wat vir 'n groen saad is. Maar jy kan nie albei gelyktydig sien nie, want die een verdoesel half die effek van die ander een. So jy het 'n dominante alleel en 'n resessiewe een. In hierdie geval wat die sleutel vir jou gee, is dat die geel is dominant en die groen is resessief. So dit beteken die dominante een gaan jy gewoonlik sien. So die geel onderdruk die groen kleur, so dan sien jy 'n geel saadkleur. In hierdie geval altyd is resessief groen, so daar is net groen allele. So vir die kleur van hierdie saad kan net groen wees, dit sal nie geel wees nie. So dan sien ons is homozygoties resessief, so albei hierdie is die skaars tipe, maar is homozygoties altyd dieselfde, so dan gaan ons 'n groen saad sien. Okay, so just quickly again, to show it in a different way. In this case, let's pretend that the capital A allele, in this case capital A, encodes for yellow seeds, for geel sade. And the small a, in this case here again, small a, is for green seeds, for groen sade. So what will this give us at the end? Here you've got, or before we get to the mating, this key here just shows us that the blue ones are usually from the male, so again from the dad, the green is from the mum. But again here we've got one individual, and here we've got another individual. This one is the male, this one is the female, but even this male has one chromosome from its mother and one chromosome from its father. This female in a mating has one chromosome from her mother and one from her father. Okay, so green refers to mother, blue refers to father. Okay, and they mate, meaning they're going to have children together. But I want to just again tell you guys that here we have 4 possibilities. It does not mean they had 4 children. Here we have one individual, second individual. We assume this means 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals. It's not referring to the individual. These 4 is referring to the possibilities of how these chromosomes, these four chromosomes you start with, can arrange themselves in the possible offspring. Okay, so it's not 4 children. It's 4 different possibilities that the kids can become. if these parents had one child, the one child could either look like this, or like this, or this, or this on the inside with its genes. Okay, so as hierdie jou eerste individu is, tweede individu, elkeen het 'n kromosoom. Die man het 'n kromosoom van sy ma, een van die pa. Vrou, een kromosoom van die ma, een van die pa. En hierdie wys nie dat hulle 4 kinders gaan hê nie, of het 4 kinders nie. Hierdie verwys na hoe hierdie 4 groen-blou kromosome kan rangskik in die kinders. So as hierdie 2 individue een kind gehad het, is hierdie een moontlikheid van watter 2 kromosome kan bind. Tweede moontlikheid van hoe hy kan bind. Derde en vierde moontlikheid van hoe die kromosome kan rangskik. Okay, so again you've got a capital A, small a, so it's heterozygous. Capital A, small a, heterozygous. So there's a possibility that, say, this chromosome could go into the offspring, one of the offspring. And it's also possible to compare with this chromosome from this individual. Because again, you get half from your mum, half from your dad. So if you get one chromosome from dad, it's half. If you get another one chromosome from mum, it's half. So 50%, 50% from either one. Then you can get an individual with capital A chromosomes. So in this case, this individual here will be homozygous, capital A, because these are the 2 chromosomes with the 2 alleles we got for seed color. So in this case, this individual with capital A will be yellow. So it will have yellow seeds because that is all the only possibility of the chromosomes it has. Capital A, so it can only have yellow seeds. So hoofletter A gaan dan vir jou geel sade gee. So hierdie individu sal dan geel sade hê as ons nog steeds gaan met die sade as die karaktertrek. Okay, then just for in case, there's another possibility that this parent gave this chromosome and this parent gave this chromosome. Then we get twice the possibility. I'll explain later why. But you have the possibility of getting this chromosome from the dad and the blue one. Let's say the blue one. This blue one came from dad. So here's the blue one from dad. And they got a green one from mum. So there's the green one from mum. Then there's a heterozygous individual, capital A, small a. So again, if it's capital A, small a, and this one is the dominant one. Why? Because it has a capital A. This individual will produce also yellow seeds. Yellow seeds because it's capital A. Okay, I'm going to explain now again what the dominant and the recessive is. But it's heterozygous, this one, heterozygous for capital A, small a, and it will produce yellow seeds. Okay, so hierdie gaan heterozygoties wees met geel sade. Hoekom? Want hierdie hoofletter A het hy van die ma gekry. Hierdie een met die klein a het hy van pa gekry, weer 50%, 50%, helfte van ma, helfte van pa. En dit is heterozygoties, en die een is dominant oor die ander een. Gewoonlik jou hoofletter is die een wat die klein letter verdoesel. So ons gaan nie hierdie sien in die nageslag nie, maar ons gaan die hoofletter A sien. En weer eens die hoofletter A is vir geel sade. Whereas this one, the homozygous recessive one, has 2 small a's, so the only color this one can be is green, can have green seeds. Okay, then quickly just the difference between phenotype and genotype. So as the pictures show us here, this is your phenotype on this side, and this is your genotype on this side. So think genotype genes. So it refers to the chromosomes you have, the alleles you have, the genes you have on the inside. So it's the genetics. Genotype refers to the genes or the genetics that's inside a specific individual. Genotype verwys na die gene binne die individu. Soos die chromosome, die gene, die allele, alles wat met die DNA te doen het, dit verwys na die genotype. Then the phenotype is everything you see. We can see the shape of these individuals. We can see the color of these flowers. We can see the size of this flower, and we can see the difference between these two flowers. So it's physical, it's on the outside. So think phenotype, physical. So jou fenotype verwys na die fisiese gedeeltes wat manifesteer in die organisme. So fenotype verwys na die uiterlike. Ons kan sien ons fisiese verskille tussen die organismes. Ons kan die kleure sien aan die buitekant van die blomme. Ons kan die hoogte sien van die plant en ons kan verskille sien tussen die twee vleetipes. Soos fisies aan die buitekant van die organisme. Genotype is on the inside, phenotype is on the outside. Okay, then let's quickly go again through these terms for you guys. So again, you've got two different chromosomes, one from mum, one from dad. Here we have specific genes. Here's a gene, let's say for a blue color, a gene for hair color, gene for height, or whatever. So we've got different genes encoding for different characteristics, and some of them have specific alleles. Both these alleles are the same, the genetic variation is the same, but different in this case, small c, capital C, so they have genetic variation, two different alleles. Okay, and then we go to our basically definition. So again, your locus is the position of a gene, die locus is die posisie van waar ons 'n geen kry. The allele itself, it is alternative forms of a gene, so meaning the base pairs of the DNA can differ, genetic differences. So allele is basies alternatiewe vorme van 'n geen, so die DNA verskil tussen die twee allele, basisbare verskil. And then your homozygous individuals, two of the same alleles for the same characteristic. So this one would be homozygous, two of the same, two capitals, two of the same alleles, encode for the same characteristic, whether it be height or whatever. Homozygoties, twee van dieselfde allele vir dieselfde eienskap word gewys. If it's heterozygous, like you had the C at the bottom, we've got two different alleles, one capital, one small. There's variation between the two alleles differ. So they're heterozygous, two different alleles for different characteristics. Yeah, basically it's actually for the same characteristic, but it's going to look different. So meaning if it's for height, the one's going to be small, one's going to be large. Okay, so I think I just have to fix that definition. So it's two different alleles actually for the same characteristic, but it's going to cause two variations. So meaning one's going to be large, one small, one green, one yellow, whatever. Okay, so heterozygoties, twee verskillende allele vir tegnies verskillende eienskappe of verskillende variasies van eienskappe. Yeah, that's better. It's basically different variations of a characteristic. Same characteristic, whether it be height or color, but different variations. So twee verskillende allele vir verskillende variasies van dieselfde eienskap. Okay, so then you've got your genotype. So again, it's the genes responsible for a trait. GG, genotype genes. Genotype is die gene verantwoordelik vir 'n spesifieke eienskap. And then your phenotype, it refers to the physical appearance of a trait. So your phenotype is die fisiese teenwoordigheid van 'n eienskap, so die uiterlike wat ons sien aan die buitekant van die organisme. Okay, then just quickly I'm going to run through what causes variation. We talked about this when we did meiosis. So random assortment is the first thing that causes variation, die oorsaak van variasie, die krake rangskikking. So usually during your metaphase 1, you can have an arrangement that looks like this, two blue chromosomes on one side, two red ones on the other side, but it's also possible that you can have one blue one on this side of the equator and one red one on this side, and same thing on the other side. It's completely random. How these chromosomes arrange is not prearranged, so it just happens randomly. Nothing we can do about it. So meaning if these two were on this side, they'd go into their own cell. Two red ones on this side go into their own cell, and this is basically the combinations you'll see in the four gametes that form. But if again you've got a blue and a red on this side, they two go in their own cell. This red and blue one go into their own cell, and then you get mixed variations. So again, these are two possibilities of the four chromosomes that can basically form because of random assortment. So die krake rangskikking beteken dat verskillende kromosome op die ewenaar gaan rangskik. Jy weet nie hoe dit gaan rangskik nie. Gaan dit twee van dieselfdes op dieselfde kant, twee van dieselfdes op dieselfde kant, of gaan hulle oorkruis en verskillend wees? So dis twee verskillende moontlikhede wat jy kry gedurende metafase. Yeah, then also the cause of variation, we talked about crossing over. So again, crossing over is the exchange of DNA between two homologous chromosomes. So jy het basies oorkruising, wat ook die oorsaak van variasie is. So dit is die oordrag van verskillende gene tussen twee homoloë kromosome. So twee homoloë kromosome wat langs mekaar lê in 'n sinapsvorm, hulle kan DNA letterlik uitruil van 'n een na die ander een. So dan kry jy herrangskikte chromatides, recombinant chromatids, meaning this piece of DNA was on this one, now is on this one, and this piece was on this chromosome to start with, and now it is on that one. So this exchanging of DNA causes variation. Then also random mutations. So later on we're going to look at mutations in a bit more detail, but basically what's happening here is this used to be a thymine nucleotide, but now randomly it has been changed to a cytosine. So mutations can also cause variation. It's also random. Sometimes it just happens, but it can lead to variation. So spontane mutasies voor een basispaar of een nucleotied verander na ander een kan jou ook variasie veroorsaak in verskillende organismes of tussen chromosome, allele. Okay, and then also just lastly, random fertilization. So meaning this refers to you don't know which sperm cell is going to fertilize what egg cell. So any one of, they just show you 3 sperms, but usually there's over 1,000 sperms that will enter a female's body at one time. So any one of those sperm, and remember each sperm is genetically different from one another, so any one of them can fertilize a specific egg cell, and then fertilization can happen and a specific baby can form. All of them, yes, will have 64 chromosomes for a human baby, but how do you know which sperm is going to fertilize the egg cell? That is completely random. So random fertilization can also cause variation. So die oorsaak van variasie vir die vier-een is die krake bevrugting. Niemand weet watter spermselletjie gaan watter eierselletjie bevrug nie. En elke spermsel is geneties verskillend van mekaar, so dis ook die kraak. En dit veroorsaak variasie, want as hierdie spermselletjie sê nou maar met hierdie eiersel bevrug, dan gaan jy 'n sekere individu kry wat sê maar blou oë het, maar as hierdie spermselletjie met daai eiersel bevrug het, kon jy dalk 'n individu gekry het met bruin oë, veral wat jy weet, omdat die gene verskillend is. Elke spermselletjie is geneties verskillend. So again, each sperm cell that's a little bit different can encode for a specific variation of a characteristic. So like I just said, this one can maybe encode for blue eyes, but this sperm maybe encodes for brown eyes. So it depends on the sperm that actually fertilizes the egg cell, what the baby is going to look like. Okay, that's basically it for this lesson.